Once upon a time, there was a young couple who were living a simple but happy life in a small kingdom. They had everything they wanted, however the thing they wished for more than anything was a child. Soon, however, the wife came to her husband with the happiest of news: "We are going to have a child at last." Now next door was a witch named Mother Gothel who was feared throughout the land. And Mother Gothel had a garden that had every flower and herb that you could have imagined, and it seemed to be springtime all year round. The wife loved to look at the garden from her window, and soon notice a leafy green called Rapunzel. The wife soon began to crave the Rapunzel and could think of nothing else, so much that the wife became very ill to the point of being bedridden. When her husband asked what was wrong, she sighed, "I can't stop think about the Rapunzel in the witch's garden. I fear if I don't get some soon I will die." The husband was then frightened. He knew the witch's horrible reputation and was not willing to get curse if he was caught. But when the husband looked at his sick wife, he quickly made his choice. So later that night, the husband sneaked into the garden and grabbed a handful of Rapunzel. As soon as his wife ate the Rapunzel, she was looking and feeling much better. The wife sighed happily, "If I had a little more Rapunzel, I would feel well again." So the next night, the husband sneaked into the garden to steal the Rapunzel again. Suddenly, a black smoke and Mother Gothel appeared at the husband with nothing but rage on her face. "How dare you come into my garden and steal my Rapunzel?" she screeched. "You will suffer for what you did." The husband cowered at Mother Gothel's feet. "Oh please." He pleaded, "My wife is having a baby and she saw your Rapunzel and she felt that she would die if she didn't have some." Mother Gothel's face softened when she heard this. "All right, you can have as much Rapunzel as you like, but in exchange you must give me your baby in return." The husband, having no choice in the matter, agreed to the deal. Months passed, and a baby girl was born to the now very happy couple. Suddenly, Mother Gothel appeared in the bedroom. "I came for the child." The couple pleaded and begged, but it was no use. The witch swiftly took the baby and left as quickly as she came. Mother Gothel named the baby Rapunzel after what she was taken for, and she soon grew up to be the most beautiful child in the world. Rapunzel grew to be more and more lovely each day, and her golden hair grew longer and longer. Mother Gothel wanted Rapunzel all to herself, so on the day of her 13th birthday, she took Rapunzel deep into the woods where no one dare go to. After a long time walking, they came to a lone tower, far where no one could find it. "This is your new home," explained the witch. "No one will know you're here but me and me alone." The tower was magnificent. In every corner of the room was almost every luxury in the world, from books to paints and plants. However, there was no door or stairs and only one window at the very top. The only way Mother Gothel got into the tower was to say, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And Rapunzel would let her long hair down and Gothel would climb all the way up. Years passed, and Rapunzel was starting to get bored, so to amuse herself, she started to sing songs she would make up. Around that time a prince was wandering in the woods when he heard the voice of Rapunzel. When he heard Rapunzel's voice, his heart immediately fluttered with joy. At that very moment, he became upon the place where the singing was, Rapunzel's tower. The prince started to look for the entrance, but there was none to be found. Suddenly Mother Gothel came up from the walkway, and as soon as the prince saw Gothel, he quickly dashed behind to the tower to see what the witch was up to. The prince watched as Gothel came to the tower and cried out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The prince was stunned as he saw Rapunzel's hair tumble down and the witch climbed up to the top. "So that is how it's done," muttered the prince. "I will have to try that out for myself." As soon as Mother Gothel was gone, the prince tried the same call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And as just like before, Rapunzel let her hair down and the prince quickly climbed up the tower. When the prince finally came to the top, Rapunzel was frightened, for she never seen a man before in her life. But when the prince explained why he was here, he spoke in a voice so gentle that her heart felt as if the sun was shining on it. And so every evening after Gothel left, the prince climbed to meet Rapunzel, where she would listen to the prince talk all about the outside world. After a long time, the prince finally said, "Rapunzel, I want you to come with me to my home. I promise to treat you far better than any queen that has ever lived." Rapunzel, seeing that the prince loved her more than Gothel, said I will, so now you must bring me silver thread so I can create a ladder, and when it is done I will climb down and ride away with you. So every evening, when she was alone, Rapunzel would knit a ladder of silver, and think about how it would feel to be out for the first time in years. One afternoon, when Gothel was visiting Rapunzel, she noticed a shiny piece of silver thread peeking under the chair. Then she realized what was going on. "You wicked child! How dare you deceive me? After all I did for you." And in a fit of rage, she grabbed Rapunzel's long hair and sheared it off. She then sent her to a desert to die from thirst or the strong heat. Later that evening, the prince came to the tower as usual and called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel's hair tumbled out as usual and the prince climbed up all the same. However, when he reached the top, who he see was not Rapunzel but Mother Gothel, and she pushed him out the window and he fell all the way to the ground. Although thorn beds stopped his fall, they blinded his eyes to the point where everything was dark. "Served you right," laughed Gothel. "Now you truly will never see Rapunzel again." The prince, heartbroken and in pain, gathered all his strength and staggered out of the woods in search for his Rapunzel. Years went by, and the prince was still looking for his beloved. Until one day, he collapsed from exhaustion, unable to move. Now at that moment, Rapunzel, who was surviving in the wasteland, was walking with her twin children, a boy and a girl. That was when she saw her prince laid out, nearly dead from the heat. Rapunzel then held her prince in her arms and cried tears of bittersweetness. At that moment, one of the tears fell into the prince's eyes. And then he could see again, and they were so joyful that the tears became tears of joy. After that, the prince took Rapunzel and their children back to his kingdom, where they ruled wisely for many years and lived happily ever after.